Okay, welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody. Oh my gosh, I hope you're having a fantastic week. Let's jump in the chat. Let's say hi to everybody. You guys are doing amazing work. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Hi, Julia. All right, let me go. Patricia's here. Julia, Kimberly, hello. Arline, hello. Mary Alice, hello, my dear. Barbara's here. Elizabeth is here. Martha is here. Hello, Amy. Hello, Jake, Melinda, Ann, Kelly. Yes, you guys are jumping in from all over. Okay. And again, check if you may have a doula giver close to you because I see some connections in certain areas. So I want to welcome you. Let me make sure we have everybody. Carrie, Elizabeth, yes. Nicholas, welcome, Nicholas. Deborah, this is Launch Lab. We're launching. We're doing, right? So it's so exciting what we're going to talk about today and the work that you all are doing. Marcia, Elizabeth, Melinda, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's settle for a minute. You guys have been doing incredible work, and I want to tell you that this is the key. What is the key is making steps forward every single week. That really is the key. I think when we see things in the world that are done, and sometimes it looks like, it was done quickly or overnight, that's not how things are really built. Things are built with steady, consistent movement forward. They're also built with reiterating. So doing something, saying, okay, what worked there? What could I do better? And doing it again and making it better and better and better. So the first step is the hardest because most people, I'm not ready, a million reasons. And that first step gets you started and gets you making momentum. Trust me, it's like building this, a beautiful artwork. You take steps to do it and you think what's working, what's not working, what does it need? So making those steps is the first thing. You're all doing that. Like we've been watching you. I mean, and I know you've gone out of your comfort zone and I know you've challenged yourself. And I want to acknowledge that, guys, because I know this is new for a lot of you. And I was in your shoes, not that, well, a little while ago, because I've been doing this for a while. But I understand what it feels like to be trying to, do something that is different for you and getting a little frustrated in certain things and then still sitting with it and getting the help and moving past it. And that's what we're doing in Launch Lab. So we're going to bust through any of the challenges, but I do have some really exciting things to share with you because we are always at Doula Givers Institute doing the same thing. We're looking at what's really serving people at the highest level. What are doulas doing that are making such great movement for them with not only impact, but also with income so they continue to make the impact? So welcome. This is week number 7 out of 12. So we have group number 1 who's in week number 7, and we have group number 2 in week number 3. And we'll go through those tasks in a minute. And it's really important, again, to stay on your weekly tasks. And if you're having a challenge, which is normal with any part of a task, don't not say something. Let's help you get past it because there's little things that you learn that can. But I do want to announce something that we have for you in this program. You know that we put together a 90-day launch sprint, and it's a serve, 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 and assist model, meaning the most important thing we do is serve our communities and serve the world, really, with bringing back death as a sacred, natural experience, getting resources for people, helping people reduce the fear, everything that goes along with this space. What a tall order. What an incredible honor that is. But also this is the moment. And then you assist people as they want you to do bedside work or help them, guide them with planning, or help them just talk about what you know to help reduce fear and get resources. So the model is a win across the board, which is incredibly important, but we're tightening it up even more for you because you're doing, and I see you jumping out of your comfort zones. We're going to talk about that in a minute, about your wins with finding a location. I know it's not always the easiest to do that. It takes legwork, but you're doing that. And then when you are hosting a Good Death, Good Life Cafe or those education pieces, what next? What's the next step? How do I then get clients? Now, There's an organic way that people know about you. I say, hi, my name's Susanna Bryan. I am a doula giver. 9 out of 10 people want to be home at the end of life. There's 78 million people over the age of 65 in this country. 98% of the hands-on end-of-life care is done by family caregivers, even with hospice on board, that usually have no idea how to do that care. This is where everything falls down. Because in theory, the model is beautiful, right? A holistic model that hospice is beautiful. Okay, got it. Wait a minute. You're only here for 1 hour once a week. If my loved one is not having any other real issues, that's a problem, because I'm supposed to, as a hospice nurse, teach the loved ones how to do the care, which 98% of that lies on them. It's not a working model. We've got to show up and do the education and bring back the skills. And so when we're doing that, and when we're serving in that capacity, and you're out there, which is, by the way, and you tell me if you feel any differently, when you have this opportunity, when you're out having these conversations with your community, it's like the best feeling that you could ever imagine, because you're sharing with them things that empower them, that can heal them, that can give them direction. And that's getting community back to community, which is like such a beautiful model. So, but then how do you actually get clients? Like, how do you get clients? So when I share with them what I do, I usually get calls, crisis calls all the time, still. Crisis call on the weekend, somebody looks like they're dying, not on hospice, multiple reasons why. And I'm like, okay, this is, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. But that's what happens, because if we don't talk about end of life, we don't have a plan, it shows up, people don't know what hospice does or doesn't do, they don't know where to go. So you're going to get those invitations, right? But to me, they're not the ideal situation, because we're running in, putting Band-Aids on something that's usually latter in the process. Still extremely important. But I want to tell you, the book is called The Good Death. A good death starts way back here with thinking about quality of life, what I'd want or not want, and what's important to me today, because a good death is a good life and not wasting it. And so what we're seeing, and of course, you are full spectrum, holistic end-of-life care practitioners. What we're seeing is that there's so much through line and success with the planning ahead. From a selfish reason, it's the key to a good end of life, is when there's a blueprint and a roadmap, a big factor of it. The other thing is that, and this is so important, somebody asked me last night, we had thousands of people on the level 1 training, and it has never happened before on a training, but I got a warning from my webinar provider. I don't think the other people could see it. There's a big thing across the thing and said, you have 15 minutes left. You've been on here for 3 hours and 45 minutes. You have a max of 4. You have a max of 4 hours. We're shutting this down in 15 minutes. And this is the only reason I'm laughing, is because I really am committed to try and stay on and answer everyone's questions. This is how important this conversation is. And so we know that planning ahead, and somebody asked me last night, they said, how do you deal with like seeing all the suffering and whatnot? And I said, what the hardest thing for me is, and it's also my soul food, is that I see the suffering that I see that's needless. End of life is hard enough to say goodbye to somebody that we love. When it's so much more challenging because of the lack of information, the lack of preparation, the lack of support that they have, that shouldn't ever be part of this scenario. And one of those big factors is people going down a medical treadmill when they are full of fear, when they get a serious or terminal diagnosis, when they haven't thought about it, they don't know what to do, and they just go into default. And there's no reversing that process. And it's not a good thing at all, for multiple reasons. So that, and then seeing people scramble to put together funeral arrangements and ceremonies, and spending all of this money and being in deep grief and not being able to grieve, like the whole thing. There's just like all this misstep. And so planning ahead is so critically important on so many levels. But what happens is that we happen to be asked to give an overarching webinar to some business groups and to some caregiver groups during the last year that was extremely successful. And then we've also had our graduate students that have done the level 1 peace of mind planner as a planning ahead with healthy people who've been very, very successful. So what we did is make a through line that we're going to give you the complete offer that you can give within your Good Death, Good Life cafes. That's from start to finish, tested, repeatable, and reliable. Why? Because you've got the compassionate caregiver honoring humanity through end-of-life planning presentation. It's beautiful. It gives them pearls. It talks about different things. Everyone will walk away with value. At the end of that, it gives them a very loving invitation that if they want to learn more about doing a PMP and the reasons why, the level 1, this is how they can sign up with you. They can talk to you after the event. Everything's going to be done for you. We also will give you the guidebook, the facilitator book. We'll do a flyer for you. I want this to be done for you because it's such a great offering, and it's something that you can incorporate every couple of weeks within your Good Death, Good Life cafe, or you can do them at a church, wherever you want. But we want this to be the through line. We had one Doula Giver graduate who did 17 level 1 PMPs in 1 month, and her revenue was close to $4,000. So again, this is not about income for me, and I don't think it is for you, because you don't choose this because it's a money thing. You choose this because it's a calling, but you do have to pay your bills, right? And so this is a wonderful way to make sure that the model, and it's so high service. So everything will be done for you. What we're going to do is next week, we'll start giving you those assets. We've already kind of dripped them out a little bit and told you about it, but really in its completion, the presentation of Honoring Humanity, which comes with a workbook. We're making a beautiful flyer for you to just put your information in. It's got a sign-up sheet. You don't have to do anything. And then everything to do with the quality of life, aging well, level 1 peace of mind planner, which is 100% money back guaranteed. If your client does not think that they got that value or more when they do that planner, which is about 90 minutes, and in $200 for 90 minutes, you give them a complimentary follow-up, then they don't have to pay for it. This is about people understanding how incredibly important choosing these choices are for them before they ever get to a place where they can't choose for themselves, or they're in a place where things are different, and also giving their family a roadmap. So look forward to that. And the reason that I'm doing it for you is because it's just going. And you can do it on Teledoula. I'm going to teach you how to do it over Zoom. So you can do it from the comfort of your home. I don't know if it gets better. But here's the thing. We also have a list of testimonials that you can use from the level 1 PMP clients and what they say. There was a financial planner who said, we thought we knew everything. He said, we did this level 1 and my gosh, we changed a bunch of things. This is the value that you hold for your clients. It's so exciting. So as you're putting in the reps, you're doing the work, setting up those monthly events, doing, and I know it's a lot of work. I do it myself. I still do it. We want to be able to give you something that is a through line from start to finish, really high touch point, that there's no guesswork. Because if you're waiting, and I'm very honest with this, if you're waiting for an end-of-life client, you're waiting for an end-of-life client, number 1. Number 2, they usually want you there more as they are declining. Number 3, I don't advocate for you to work with more than one end-of-life family at a time. Why? Because I don't want you to start running around from this family to this family. You can't be everywhere. I've tried, it doesn't work. And it's not shifting. That doesn't shift the culture. It's nice for you to show up, but it's not shifting the culture. And how do we shift the culture? By pulling it up from the roots and saying, where did we ever get to a place where we don't acknowledge, we don't talk about it, and we treat death as like the number 1 enemy and a battle and all the things? It shouldn't be there. So you're doing so much to shift the culture, and that takes education, and then that takes people to plan ahead. All right. Let's talk about weeks number 3 and 7 and go through some of your wins. I want to check the chat first, and then we'll also what you have. If you have challenges, what challenges you have. Mary Alice says it's always a weekend or holiday because that is when the friends and family are there and see how things are going. Maybe see a big change since last weekend's visit. Yeah, I love that, Mary Alice. That's exactly what's happening. And again, I don't know about your schedule, but I know that mine doesn't allow this, and I assume yours doesn't, that you can't just drop everything when someone says finally, oh, I need you. Okay, we'll take a death doula now, or I need you Wednesday. Like, do you just have like no schedule? That it's just not, it doesn't work that well. And usually, I come in to cases and I'm just like, somebody is actually like transitioning and the family has no idea. So we have to get ahead of it. Richard says, it is weird to think about a little of how did I end up here, or to think of being in the business of dying. I don't know if it's in the business of dying. I don't know. First of all, yes, I understand the first part because again, I have no end of life experience. You don't think when you're younger, you're just like, okay, here are the options, right? Like, you think about what you're going to be. This never is one of them because you just don't, and not for picks you. But I don't know that it is a business. I think that it's such an important offering in education, and you can take this any which way that you want it to go. What I would say is that you have to get really clear on what you offer and how you do it. And for me, there's really never turning anyone away from a service. Now, I do need to keep my lights on. You need to do that, but everything else, where's the real important thing? And when you're going into your community and doing so much free education, that's the win, by the way. I'm going to tell you right now that that's probably the thing that you are going to absolutely love the most, is when you are helping in that capacity, because there's no better feeling. And then if somebody needs your services and they can't pay, what would you say? Would you say, oh, that's too bad, get back to me when you can? Of course not. We figure out a way. But you've got to set it up with a structure. So when we get to your business part of it, we set it up and advise you to have packages based on hours that you're comfortable with, and then to have a sliding scale that you use. And then how do you access pro bono hours if you need to give charity? Yeah, it's a beautiful model. But I understand that, Richard. I understand, but I think that we want to try and make sure that we're really having clarity around the emotional attachment to the wording we're putting to things, because it can be a block or it can be an invitation. It can be nourishing or it can be something different, and it really depends on how you use it. No problem, Mary Alice, don't worry about that. Anne says, I feel that I am in the business of serving, offering support. Yeah, it's an invitation, guys. And when you hear the honoring humanity, when we play that for you and I show you how I do the invitation at the end, and I'm not attached to anything, although I don't like people suffering that don't need to, but you can't do people's work for them. But here's what I know. Why do you think that we are out here working so incredibly hard? Why would I ever? And sometimes I ask myself, because it's like, nobody believes that I stay on for like 4 hours on a live event answering questions with people till 11 o'clock at night, right? Because I know what's on the other side of that. That speaks louder than anything you could possibly say, is why you're sharing this, your personal stories, what brought you here, sharing the culture. It's like, and then here, take, you can or you cannot. By the way, people are going to end up paying money at some point, and a lot more when they don't plan ahead. And it's not necessarily just about that at all, the money. It's about the stress that goes along with it, and it's about the cluster of what happens at the end when they don't make those quality of life choices for them, so they don't go down. Just because somebody says you can have a surgery doesn't mean that you should. And I'm just putting it out there. You need more information for there, but I've seen way too many times that, okay, well, we can, let's, do an open thing. Why? And the people are like, yes, because they're going to grab onto any kernel of hope because they're so frightened. So we do need more discernment and education. And I get the questions. One of the greatest things you can offer in your cafes too is like, you can take those free assets from the free community resource center, which are stellar. One being the top questions to ask the doctor when a serious diagnosis is given. It gives the family stop and here's the question so that I can look at everything and I can make the right decision for me. Yeah, I love that. So Patricia says, mourn bringing comfort and knowledge to families so they can deal with the event and process. Absolutely. We've had clients pay our doulas more because they're like that. You're not asking enough. Okay. Because of the value that they brought to them. Richard said 24/7 caregiver, and it worked out to be like $6.75 an hour. So certainly didn't do it for the money. No, we don't do this for the money. But I will say that the people historically that have the most to do with the actual hands-on, like our CNAs and caregiving, get paid the less and have the least respect in it, and they do the most, and they're the most amazing people. And I just don't understand it. I could never do my job as a nurse without them. They are absolutely amazing. Why are they not being respected and paid for? Kelly says, question, I'm working with a family now, husband with ALS. How do you handle when family asks, what would you do? For example, feeding tube versus no feeding tube. So Kelly, I think that when you are asked directly, that's an invitation to be honest. And what I would do is get all of my information because I've seen it's interesting. And again, I'm not, well, it seems to be the theme with doctors. There's the article that from the Wall Street Journal in 2012 that was titled How Doctors Die Differently, which is a fascinating article about how when they get a terminal diagnosis that, shut the door, out of it, go home, and they choose mostly to do nothing. No interventions. They all pretty much have their advanced directives done as well. So it's a very telling thing. Now, what I'm going to say to Kelly, and I'm going to say to all of you, because it's the first question in your peace of mind level 1 planner, is defining what quality of life means to you. And so that is the benchmark. That's the benchmark for everybody. That's when I know that I'm at a certain place in this journey where quality of life is no longer attainable. Now I go into my beautiful other plan, my comfort plan about being home. What does that look like? Symptom management. For this gentleman with ALS, and I'll use myself as an example. What we know about ALS is we know, and it's really powerful that you can understand the progressions of disease processes because we know them, right? So we know how things usually play out. ALS, again, one of those. Cruel disease, just a cruel disease because the mind stays intact completely and everything, all the muscles go flaccid from usually the feet up. How people have their end of life, which most people don't really realize, is that the diaphragm muscles can't expand, so they can't get air in. So there's shortness of breath. They lose the ability to swallow. Okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. When I got to a place in that journey where I'm not able to talk with my families, maybe there's a part that I can use a board or something. But if I really am having troubles, communicating, but now it's a breathing thing. So now that's really there. Like I'm going to pick a time that I don't want these things because I've seen people, especially if they're on a ventilator, if they have a feeding tube, like they're being suspended in that space and it looks really uncomfortable. I'm being very graceful with you right now. So I think that we always want to go through the lens of empowerment. And the lens of empowerment is saying, what is quality of life to you? Let's use Mr. Miller. Just going to call him Mr. Miller. Let's really define what quality of life, even in this dynamic with him, what brings your day? Like, what are the most important things? And when that's really not attainable anymore, that should be an indicator for you that maybe you can decide, do you want to be, because we know how to do that. We know how to sustain, or is it something that you would rather be comfortable in? So when you're invited in, you can answer them honestly. But again, let's go with empowerment of quality of life and really look at it, because when you're watching people struggle to get air in, probably the worst thing I've ever seen. Okay, Kathy says, as a respiratory therapist, I see what happens when patients at end of life come into the hospital because the family is scared, even when they are not on hospice. Yeah, thank you, Kathy, so much for that. And a lot of the time too, and this is again PMP, we're going to be doing a huge campaign at Doula Givers about this quality of life level 1 peace of mind planner. We haven't even done anything, and we already have people contacting us at Doula Givers asking to match them with a graduate to do their PMP, their level 1 PMP. So it's going to be, and everyone should have this done, by the way. Everyone 18 years or older should have this done. So it's going to be a very, very big campaign and mission. So it's going to be great to see you not only part of that, but I want to get you to where you're really feeling very confident and comfortable in doing them. So we're going to practice all that. But just what Kathy said, families panic and put pressure on the person, and the person's not feeling well. So do you think they can advocate for themselves or fight their loved ones? No, they just go through the motions. Mom, you got to fight. You got to eat. But mom doesn't want to do that. So this thing called fear needs to get out on the table way over here so we can talk about it. And then we can say, oh, okay, right, part of the journey. So what's really important for me? And yeah, and what's my what's quality of life? It's very important to have this on so many levels. Thank you for that. Kelly says, I asked the wife if she had this conversation with her husband. Yeah, what's the answer to that one? I'd like to hear that. Julia says, Kathy Stout, I too am a respiratory therapist. Thank you. You guys have seen a lot, because the breathing issues are just the worst that I've ever seen. So let's get to where you guys are. I want to ask, first, I'm going to go over week number. You guys, I can't believe, I mean, I can. All right, week number 7. It's so exciting. Week number 3. So let's do week number 3. Congratulations, you guys, for being at week number 3. And what done looks like for you in this week is that you have chosen an in-person or online for your first Good Death Cafe. Again, it will probably take a few weeks for you to really find the right place or to solidify that, but you got to get going. You got to get going on that. You have selected and written down the 90 to 120 minute time window. You have confirmed, right? So taking all the steps, a venue or room, or where you're going to do your cafe. So you've decided. Now there's a couple of things that I'm a stickler on, because I've done this so very long that I want to teach you everything that does not work and the shortcuts that do. You want to think in terms of, when you're picking your location, you want to think in terms of the right location, meaning that it's not off a beaten path. It's not somewhere far away. It's where people can get to. A place that has foot traffic. What does that mean? Places that your avatar, which is your perfect client, like usually a middle-aged person, is coming in and out of. So the library, or a aging center, or just something that has foot traffic, that has your right fit client, something that is accessible, and someone, of course, that you want the location to be able to share it with on their flyers or their newsletter, or both. When you choose to do a online event, which you can do, but here's the thing, there's a much bigger lift there. Why? Because you've got to start from scratch. You've got to find your people. And it doesn't mean that it's impossible, because it's not. So you're playing a long game, and you're playing a service game. And so I want you to know that when we do that, by you showing up and by you posting on your Facebook page, by you starting to go out in your communities and network with people and let them know what you do, you get people knowing about what you do, but you want to build the trust with them. And if you do that, you can then have an email list. You'll have that in person or online, where you can share with them your events, and they're more likely to come. But if you have a place like a library that I say, I'd love to do this event, who just posted it? Somebody that I think it's in your group, that said they're like jumping ahead. They're like, the library was so excited. They're like, we've been waiting for this kind of information. We want to do it like immediately. And so they've got people already interested. See what I'm saying? So you've already got a built-in clientele, and then you add from that. So this week you were supposed to choose where to have your event. Are you doing it online, or are you going to do it in person? You've scheduled the date. You have created a draft Eventbrite or similar event page. Eventbrite is great. And you completed modules 3 and 4 in your certified end-of-life doula. So we'll get to your group in 1 minute, because I'm going to take questions on what we can workshop. Week number 7, getting chills for you guys, because you're getting there, and so much good work has been done. And I know it's work. I understand that. And so I'm so proud of you. So what you did this week is you expanded your resource list. So you added a minimum of 5 new organizations. You had a target, you had a minimum, a target, and a stretch list. You have new partner introductions. So you're introducing yourself to people, which I absolutely love. I just love when I introduce myself and say what I'm doing and how can we work together? How can we collaborate? It's just, you're meeting new friends, like-minded people. So then you were supposed to also have social posts about your cafe. So there's templates and things that we offer to help you with that. But these are things you can reuse. So keep in mind that when the brilliance about doing a consistent monthly event is that it's a consistent monthly event, is that people who can't come to this event can know about next event. But all of your copy about the description of what you do, all of your social posts can be reused for the following month with a little bit of difference, but also with the different dates. So you're doing one big lift that has repurpose abilities. You're asking your partners to share your flyers. Now, this should also be done when you're making a partner introduction. This came, I'm not going to call anyone out, but this came as a surprise. And I really like the organization. But they asked me, oh, would you, speak at this? We're having this event. And I'm like, sure. And then later they were like, okay, you need to send out 2 emails during this window period. And it has to be. And I'm like, I didn't have runway in my schedule to just add that. And so what I would say, we made it work. But here's the thing. If I'm going to partner with, I'm going to partner with an elder care attorney. I'm just pulling something out. And I'm going to ask them to be that I can list them and be a sponsor, or even ask them to talk. In that initial conversation, I'm going to ask them, and in exchange, would you please share this with your email list and population, because we're here to serve the family. It's clear at the get-go. It's not second thought. Now, you do need to sometimes do some gentle nudging at the end and remind them, but you want to give them everything that it's no lift for them, that they can just simply share it on their social media, on their newsletters, whatever they have, but you want to hand it to them. And then you practice your 90-second intro. Repetition is the mother of mastery. Say it out loud, say it into the mirror, get really comfortable of who you are, what you do, and why. This is a lost art, guys. People are just like, oh, I can do it. I know it all. And, I'm not faulting anyone. I'm just saying we're missing the mark a lot of times. And this is the same when you get in front and you do your introduction to your cafe. And by the way, get out of your head and into your heart always. What am I going to say? What brought you here? And this is what we're doing to help change it. There's no such thing as perfection. Be authentic. So let's start with our advanced group number 1 in the 7th week. I want to hear how you guys are doing. Are you on track? By a show of hands of who's here. Where are you at? And then if you have something that you need to workshop, let's start with that. And then we'll go to group 1. Amy Martin, let me give you the controls back. I take these controls away. I don't mean to, but I do. Well, I do mean to. So we have a clean recording. Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I wanted to give an update. I went to my first Death Cafe on Tuesday, and this is the one where the dementia specialist from the county started last month. And so I said I would come to the one in February and March. And so we had a total of three other participants. And when we started and went around and introduced ourselves, I had mentioned that I was a doula giver specialist, and then I added an end of life doula. And then after we, got done with introductions, one lady had said, "And what is a death doula?" So I had kind of the stage there for
Yeah.
about 10 minutes and just explained the difference between hospice and, what a death doula would do. And everything went really well. I felt a little bit I'm one that wants to go in there and know everything. People were asking a lot of questions about green burials and cemeteries, and thankfully the dementia specialist knew a lot of that. I kind
Mhm.
of felt a little bit weak with all of that yet, but I wasn't too worried. But after the hour that we had, as I was leaving, one of the participants took me to the side and she said, "I would just love for you to speak at one of our, I'm not really sure what organization, but be like a public speaker." So she asked for my information and I gave it to her. So she just thought this was amazing. So that went really well. I got out of my comfort zone and I'm going to go again next month. And then I had originally planned it to start to do my own cafe in April. But once I kind of got in there and with the county. So we'll see where that goes. Um, but I also wanted to mention with my first cafe that I'm doing, I had also planned to do like a open house in my community, and I was going to have like a light luncheon at our local American Legion. So I was going to invite like the mayor and, local funeral homes and that. And, as you know, with my doula business, I'm actually celebrating 20 years of my cleaning business in April. So that's why I was waiting for that week to do that so I could celebrate 20 years. So I'm actually with my business doing the cleaning and organizing and the doula work and health and wellness. So it's going to be a brand new business name and everything. So I just want to throw that idea out so that way people can come and I can have, brochures and things set up and they can kind of take a walk at the tables and then have like a light lunch. And so I'm also doing that the same week as my cafe. So I'm really excited about that. So I thought I'd share my wins.
Oh, please. It's so good. Let's all give her a lot of love here. That is major, major, major.
Thank
Um,
you.
Yeah, I think there's so much. And I mean, follow your heart, have fun with it, do what feels right. I think you've already named it all and inviting people together to this. It's about community, once again, taking care of community, and that speaks volumes. Invite the mayor. This is our community. Who are our elders? This is these are the resources we have. Who else can, collaborate and help with this? Green burial person, elder care attorney, like everyone is involved in this, and it's such a feel good. I think it's beautiful, Amy. What I want you to be thinking in terms of, if I may plant the seed,
Mhm.
is what does that look like from a through line for your business in it just one offer at one time? Meaning, we get all these people and this is great. Let's have a educational series this month we do it, and then we have to position that people can do. You can do groups of peace of mind planning, but you need something where they can follow through, because we just have to have the through line. They're going to be following through with the funeral director and different things. I want you to not miss that you're part of that through line from a place of love, so it can keep going and adding to the I was going to say adding to the pot, but I don't know. I didn't want to say that, but it really is important, because you just want to see how do you close that loop to keep it
Yeah.
going and to build momentum. I think it's so great. Yeah. Tell the mayor I say hi. No,
Yeah.
I am serious. There was one of your doula giver graduates who got the mayor to make the city of Las Vegas National Death Doula Day on April 20th. I don't know how they did that, but we got to ask. But it's really cool.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Let's see what else we have here. All right, you guys are writing in the chat. So Elizabeth says, why do we pick 90 to 120-minute window? Because that's usually what it takes to greet people, to get them settled in, to have the conversation, and then for cleanup. By the way, it can go on and on. People love to, if there's a safe space for them to really start sharing from the heart, like it's great. So that's what we have found. If you're doing a set presentation, it can be a little less, but the thing is that even set presentations are about 45 minutes or so. And then there's lots of Q&A, lots of questions that are being asked, but you can play with that a little bit. But I have found that with these educational monthly events, it's 90 minutes is really usually healthy. Marcia says I should be in week 7, but I'm in week 2 because I'm trying to thaw from flight, freeze, faint, etc. You got this, Marcia. Do not worry. And I'm so proud of you for showing up.
I'm gonna keep trying.
No, you are doing it. You're doing it. You're not keep trying. You're doing it. So I love it. I think it's so courageous when you step out of your comfort zone like that. I mean, that is such a hero moment for you, and you're doing it. So you're doing it, and everything else just needs to align with that. It's you're doing it. So let's all please give her a lot of love. I think it's fantastic. This is such a big moment, and I'm so proud of you. Yeah. So just keep doing it, and let us know, let the team know, one thing that we could help you with if you have, and let's just do one thing. That's all you need to do and move it forward. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love that you're here, and I love what you're doing. You're a great example for all of us. Anne says, congratulations, Amy. Wonderful work. And thanks for sharing your idea of open house. Wicked nice. Yeah. So there's been a couple of, so again, you're going to be introduced when you graduate. You have doulas that have been doing this for quite some time. So one of them she's doing a homecoming end of life festival and she's having vendors come, and she's having a whole bunch of people. It's a 1-day event, and she's really going there. She's doing it, and she's promoting it. She's getting the newspaper to cover the story on it. And because this is news and this is your community. Do you see how much support you have around you? When you say, I remember being invited into New York City, Sloan Kettering, and the doctor, this is a long time ago, hearing what Doula Givers does and is, he goes, if you can really do this, we would be so grateful, because we know we're sending people home that they're not okay and the families are not okay. So everyone is in support of this. It's really beautiful. Caroline, come on in.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Wanted to let you know that my day has come. It will be on Saturday at the library. So I am gearing up for that, and went to the library today and just to make sure everything was all set.
So exciting. What's happening with that? Are people pre-registered, or do you?
They're not. I'm hoping that they will just show up.
Okay.
I have put flyers out and just been talking to people, and the library has done the same thing.
Good.
So we'll just see. This is the first one, so
we'll
see
exciting.
what happens.
Okay, what are you offering? Are you doing a Good Death, Good Life cafe?
No, because she would only give me the 1 day.
Yeah. So you're doing a level 1.
I put it down as the level 1 training. But you know what? I'm kind of thinking that I need to do the humanity.
Woo! Okay, guys. So okay. So quickly,
it's in that.
Yeah. So do you have that access, or do we need to get you that?
I'll have to get that. Okay.
So one of the things I'll say to everyone is, stay flexible. Don't, and if that feels right to you, because it's pretty amazing, Caroline. So we have a workbook with it. And there's an option that you can just play the recording. Is that what you like? And then I do the invitation. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Are you ready
the first time? Yeah.
Are you happy to have PMP clients? Because it has a beautiful invitation at the end if somebody would like to follow up with you. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Caroline, do me a favor and just email into support@doulagivers.com, telling them that you were on here with that request. And so we'll get you that material because it is Thursday. We want you to have that by
Yeah.
tomorrow morning. Okay. We'll get
Okay.
you. And you can, it's so easy and it's so great.
Yeah.
You're going to, thank you. You're going to do fantastic. We're so excited for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, group number 1. Where are you? By a show of hands, how many people are caught up with all of your tasks? Okay. How many people are 80% caught up with tasks from group? I'm sorry, for group number 2. Group number 2. That's week number 3. Are anyone completely done? No, not yet. Okay. Come on. Who would like to troubleshoot anything or have questions about any of the tasks? Let's bust through. I will read your chat. Yeah, lots of love for you, Caroline. Rooting you on. It's amazing. You're going to do great. Amy Martin says, question, if someone just wants us to speak about what an end-of-life doula does, what presentations you suggest? What is an end-of-life doula? And I'm not trying to be funny. There is one because it's a big question. What is a doula giver, end-of-life doula? I gave it in Washington, D.C. I gave it in Bangkok, Thailand. Like, this is amazing when you think about it at the sustainability conference that people came from all over. So you have access to what is an end-of-life doula, and it's great. It talks about the movement. It talks about the End-of-Life Doula Council. It talks about, it's great. So it's located in your DSI DMA. In your educational presentations, Amy, if you can't find it in there, let us know and we'll zero in for it, but it's really good. Okay. Deborah asked this question from week number 3. Can you clarify what this Good Life Death Cafe is supposed to look like that we are planning? Are we teaching like you do? Or are we simply doing introductions and why we're here? Then maybe throw a question out there for discussion. Take questions, have a reference table. Yeah, the latter part. Amazing. I love that, Deborah, how you have lots of clarity around that. So I'm going to give you everything and teach you how to do it. And then you're going to do exactly that. So you come together, you host a safe space for community to get together, really to get education and resources and meet and presence, right? But within that, you have a topic for I suggest you have, and we set it up with this for you. You have a topic for that event of that month so that there's something to prompt people. And I think one of the great topics has been for me in the book and how I've done a lot of different things is how did end of life ever become something that's so feared, and that where did we go wrong? Because I think just leaning into the clarity of how we went the wrong direction about 120 years ago brings a lot of like, wow, right. Wait a minute. What are we doing? And then resources. So then what do we need? And also, what are we facing at this moment as a global society with an aging population that we're not nearly set up for? So you can plant those seeds. You have prompts, you have booklets that you can give, and then you want to have those resource tables. That was excellent. Take questions. Absolutely. Ask them what they want to know. What would you like to learn next? You can talk about water cremations, green burial, home funerals. One of my favorite. Grief and the truth about grief. We're suffering from so much grief right now because we don't talk about end of life. And so you can have all of those and then a sign up sheet to follow up with them. You got this. Excellent. I love it. Yeah. So you do have a through line with your Good Death, Good Life Cafe, but it really is easy. When I was doing mine, literally all I had to do was go in. I would put chairs in a circle for the most part, just for, a connection. And then I'd ask people to go around and just introduce themselves and say, why did they come to this meeting? And 2 hours gone. Great conversations. So it's really easy. It's really easy. Okay. Martha says, I've been talking to a lot of palliative care doctors, APN. Many of them didn't know that end of life doula is a thing. I would like to do the presentation with them. Sure, Martha. Yeah. So you're in DSI DMA as well. So get in there. Let's get that presentation. I'm going to pin it to the top of here. I'm going to go in after this meeting, you guys, and pin it right to the top so you find it. It's so well done, and it's got such a great explanation. And, you know, when you say that people don't know about this, they still really don't. They still really don't. You know, think of the stress that doctors are under as well, seeing all these patients without a lot of time. I mean, the whole model is not working that well at all, and I'm being gentle. Richard says, I'm going to try and present to the clinic I used to manage as family practice. Absolutely. People are really interested in hearing, because here's the thing. Your role supports the patient, the family, and the medical team. Get in there and talk to them and say, acknowledge how difficult the current system is. And oh my God, I got to tell you something. When I was in Boise, we went to one of the events, we went to talk to nurses and doctors in the oncology unit. And they were all running in. They were kind of running in. They had food for them. They were running in. We were doing the talk, and they're considered, you can see like sometimes like a little itching in their seat because they're thinking of all the things they have to do because they have patients on the floor. And at a certain point, when I really really acknowledged them for what they're actually, the stress they're under and how impossible it is and what they go through, like you could just see it is so sad. And they're at the bedside of dying patients with no time, I mean, that's called moral injury. And so I said, if we could come in and help people make their own aging well plans before they get to your bedside, what would that do for you? Everything. If we could come in and be the doulas that can help when you don't have the time to be at that bedside when someone is dying and things are, what would that feel like for you? Be amazing. Go talk to your people. We are in this together. I love it. Yeah, that presentation is great. So, Richard, yeah, we want to get that available to you as well. It's good stuff, you guys. It's really good. And the honoring humanity is really beautiful because it's going to give it's like, I just keep picturing a rainbow of all of the beautiful shift in end of life culture, which is, again, just talking about the amount of people that we have, talking about the healthcare system and honestly, hospice, which is such a beautiful model in care. But when it became a reimbursed offering, it changed everything, because now people said, oh, we're going to make a set dollar amount no matter how much care we give or not. And as much as the workers are so incredible, healthcare workers are so incredible, they're just not able to be everywhere at once. And it's a terrible, terrible feeling, but you can fill in that gap. So the honoring humanity shows that. And then we do talk about the beautiful rebirth of end of life, you know, the different options for life celebrations, home wakes. And then we talk about green burials and water cremations, and it starts to change something that seems like such a loss of control to something very, very different. The response has been beautiful. And so when you're just presenting that, it really plants a lot of seeds for people instantly. Richard said, my father lives in a 55 plus community that have events at the clubhouse with coffee and donuts. And property manager said I could do one there as my wife cleans the empty units when people move out. I love that, Richard. That's such a great idea. And if I may, what I would focus on, because I've been in these situations where I'm talking actually to people who are the people we care for, right? So usually you're hired by caregivers. That's a different conversation. That's a different avatar. When you're talking directly to people, I think you would like to lean into quality of life, what quality of life looks like for you. Because here's the reality. If we're living to an average of 80, 90, it's probably going to be a lot more the way they're going. You want that quality of life to be there. So how do we make that happen? What's important there, right? So I would lean in, and also I'd always default, and this is such a good thing just in general. What do you need? What questions do you want answered? You may not have the answers at the moment, but you can go find them. What's important to you? You ask your families this as well. Don't think we do know a lot, but don't think that you know exactly what everyone needs. Pay them that respect of what do you want to learn about? Ask your community groups this. What do you really want to learn about? Well, I want to learn about Greenberry, a home funeral. There's a lot to that. And it's so incredibly beautiful. Okay, let's do that. You just showed so much respect for them. And also you're doing all this education anyway, but it gave them the ability to share what's important to them. Mary Alice has a question from week number 3. I have asked before, but still don't really understand the answer. What weeks are the other courses due? What weeks are the other courses due? Do they all need to be completed before the 9-week certification is issued? No. So Mary Alice, I just want you to completely focus on your foundational training, which is your certified end-of-life doula practitioner in this 90 days, as well as building your business in this 90 days. So you have 2 programs, 2 tracks that allow you to launch at that 90-day. After that, you can then do self-paced, the elder care doula and the care consultant, but they complement the foundational training, right? So everything is really based off this. And I build this as a brick house, because if you don't have a solid foundation, and that's why we're giving you that one offer as well. If you don't have such a solid foundation, everything else on top of that is weak. So there's a real strategy here, and it's really beautiful. So only concentrate on certified end-of-life doula and building your business. And then when we get to that place, yeah, you can do the others and they complement. They'll make so much more sense when you do this. All right. Jake says, question, I'm doing my cafe in 9 days. Okay. Yes. Where can I get a crash course on green burials, home funerals, etc., just in case someone asks about this sort of thing? Okay. First of all, Jake, congratulations. Number 1, amazing. Can I ask, where are you doing it? So excited. Okay, everyone wants to know. Online. Okay. So, questions. You're doing it online, so you have Zoom all set? Is that how you're doing it? Do you want to unmute yourself and come on? You don't have to, you can write it in if you want, but you can. Hi.
Hey, hi everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm doing it on Zoom. Um, it's I'm positive of a handful of people who I've known for a while that are going to come. I did get some people who registered on Eventbrite who I have no idea who they are. But um, and so yeah, I'm planning to have a couple of possible sort of plans to just go with whatever happens. I mean, the first thing is what you just said a few minutes ago about, you know, introducing yourself and asking why you want to
Yeah.
register for this in the first place.
First of all, yeah, so proud of you. Did you get the longer Zoom option that you can go an hour, or is your time limited?
Um, I haven't bought it yet, but I am going to get it.
Okay.
I yeah.
Okay.
I am really tight on money right now. So I'm kind of
Okay.
yeah. I'm gonna get it, but
All right. Okay.
it's like I wanted the 90-day crash course because I've just been in like severe career transition stagnation and I needed to get a jump start on something. But my overall timeline on actually getting clients might be pushed off a little bit more in the distance.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Would you be interested, and I'm just making a suggestion, would you possibly be interested in presenting the Honoring Humanity recording after you do intros with that gentle invite at the end for level 1 PMPs that's already there? And again, it's so gentle. It's all done, because that could give you revenue to put back into your business to get you jump started. And I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say though, I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about.
Okay.
I mean, I know I've heard it being discussed through this session, but I'm not
Okay.
entirely positive what this is.
Okay, so what I think what we should do, Jake, is why don't I send you information on it tomorrow, and then you can decide after you see what it is in the workbook. And the other thing I'd like to ask you if you'd be open to, would you be open to sharing the link for your online event with everyone? Because I think some of us would like to support you in that.
Yeah, sure.
You don't have to do it right now. You can do it in the group.
Okay.
Put it in the Facebook.
Yeah.
And by the way, everyone, that's the beauty of an online group, because then everyone can support and be part of it. So, and we'd love to show up for you. So, yeah, so make sure you put it in the group, and I'm going to send you the info on Honoring Humanity tomorrow, and you can make the decision what feels right to you.
Thanks.
Super proud, super excited. This is amazing, you guys. It's really beautiful. Okay, I know we're at time, so let me quickly, there's a lot of love for you on there. Martha said, could we be invited to each other's cafe? Yeah, thank you. There you go. Okay, so that's exactly what we want to do. Mary Alice said, question from week 3, have asked before. Okay, I got that. Thank you. We got that. All right. You guys are amazing. Okay, I have my task list that I'm going to do, but we're doing it. And so just breathe deep, and also just thank yourself for showing up, because that's honestly, that's all it takes, is for you to say, I'm going to show up. Everything else just starts to unfold, and you're all doing that. Congratulations, everyone. Great, great job. All right. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.